Make a Sega Genesis game from scratch. Alright, so our first step, we've got, we're going to use Sonic and Knuckles here as the ROM. I'm going to open up the USB Prog software from GQ. We'll open the ROM in here. Just click everything as normal. Oops, forgot. We got to select the device first. Okay. So we're going to use the M27C322. Hit OK. Now we open the ROM. Hit OK. It's in here. Here's the buffer. You can see the game. So it's Sega Genesis. We're going to click this A-B button that says byte swap. Notice everything gets all swapped around. And then we'll hit save and give it a name. We'll call it Sonic and Knuckles byte swap. Save it. Okay. Then we'll use our FlashCat here to do the programming. Alright, so we're going to open this up. It's in EEPROM mode because we're going to use a 322 to program it. Alright, so down here, here is the FlashCat. It's plugged in, the light is on. We'll take our EEPROM. I have this little squishy thing. It squishes the legs so that they're straight. I always like to give that a couple squishes. Put it down here in the bottom. Close it up. Make sure that this switch is to the right so it's in 32-bit mode. And then we'll hit the little reset button here, and you'll notice that down here it'll say new device connected, M27C322. So that means we're ready to go. Alright, so we'll click the EEPROM tab, and we'll click this write data to memory, and it'll pop up with a menu. Let's see, where did I put this? Here we go. Okay, we'll select our byte swapped ROM, hit open, hit OK, and it'll start writing the ROM. And you can see it blinking away down here. Alright, so this takes a while, so while that's going on, we'll make another one of these here. Okay, so this is a finished one. We'll use it as the model. I'll come over here to my very obnoxiously messy workstation. Let's see here, plug in my soldering iron, turn it on. Alright. Okay, so we've got the board. We need to make sure that we take these tabs off the side. It won't fit. Alright. So the first thing we need is a 22 UF capacitor. So any voltage will work as long as it's higher than like 5 volts. So we'll get one of these out of the bag. We're also going to need 0.1 UF capacitor. I prefer a ceramic one. These are super duper cheap. Probably pay less than a penny for them. Alright, so if we look at our old one, you can see that the negative side is on the left side here. So we're going to do the same thing with this one. Make sure you get that white stripe, put it on the left side, we'll bend it down, then the feet out. Take the right one. Through these tiny little holes here. Okay, be careful to bend this down out of the way, because if you get one of these legs that connects these two pads here, because there's a place here where you can use surface mount chips, if the legs are contacting those together, you'll short this out and nothing will happen when you put your game in the Sega Genesis, and it could break something. Alright. Let's solder this here. I always use this big old fat K-tip just because it's fast for a bunch of legs on an EEPROM later on. Alright, let's see. Make sure it's got good joints. Hopefully you're in focus, I have no idea. Alright. Then also, I don't know if you can see, but here tells you the EEPROM size. We're using a 32 megabit EEPROM, so we need to solder this jumper. So just heat those both up carefully. Keep putting solder on until we get a blob that covers it. Oh my goodness, it's not doing it. Wow, it's a little big. Whatever. It's connected, it's fine. Okay. We'll trim these legs. Be careful not to touch hot solder like I just did. Alright. We're pretty much done. We just have to wait for that EEPROM to finish. So let's put a socket in this. Just because we can. So, make sure your socket's pointing to the left. Pop that sucker in there. Make sure all your legs are straight. We might and all in, nothing bent. Okay, if you notice I made this little contraption here so you can press your whatever you're soldering into the corner, so that if you can drag solder, you don't move your thing around. For some reason this soldering iron doesn't drag solder very well, so we'll do it just a couple legs at a time, but careful not to mess anything else up that's important. Alright, good visual inspection there. I like to take, I've got these ceramic tipped tweezers and just like run them through like this, because every now and again you'll get these little tiny threads of solder that you can't really see very well, and they'll bridge two pins and cause it to not work. You'll get like a black screen or like weird garbage on the screen when you go to test your game. And we don't want that, because it's really frustrating to try and figure out what's wrong. Alright, so that looks good. This should be functional. Alright, come over here. Now, this is taking forever. So, let's turn this camera off and come back when it's done. Alright, so after we finally finished all that, I discovered that I burned the not byte swapped version, so I had to do it a second time. So now this one is just finished. So we're going to take it and put it in. Make sure that the notch is facing towards the left. Set it in your socket here. If you are using a socket, make sure that all the pins are lined up to go in the holes, because if it's not quite lined up when you press it in, they'll splay out and you'll bend it and probably break it. Alright, so pop that in. If you're not using a socket, you should have just soldered this in place, and let's go try it out. So, go over here to the console. Make sure that the chip is facing towards the front, and we're just going to slide it in there. Make sure it's firmly pressed in. Your TV is on and everything. Alright, let's hit power. And there we go. SEGA! Looks like everything is working. Oh yeah, Sonic and Knuckles. Alright, so that's it. Hopefully this helps.